Hey, this is Alex from Cephable, and in this tutorial, I'm going to teach you how to manage your camera sensitivities when using camera controls like head movement or face expressions. To get started, we'll want to make sure we have a profile that has head and face expressions turned on. For example, this one I have for Cephable App controls is based off of the keyboard navigation basics profile. So I have things like being able to turn my head to the right in order to tab navigate through the app. So if I go back and click Start Camera, make this a little bigger, we can see that as it's tracking my face when I turn my head to the right, I'm highlighting different things. So if I go back now to the left, it's going back, 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 and now we're over here on View Profile. If I turn my head to the left again and then back to center, now we're on Add Profile. And I can navigate through different things using turning my head, which is pretty cool. Now, one of the things that you might want to do is change how far you need to move your head. So for example, I'm moving about this far every time that I'm making one of those movements. But let's say I can't or don't want to move that far. Well, you can increase your sensitivity for those specific movements. To do this, we're going to scroll down to camera settings. And here you'll see a sensitivity slider for every specific movement. So for example, we were using turning right and left there, where I have them set up to high sensitivity for turn right and low sensitivity for turn left. Let's center these back to the middle. And when I hit save and resume my head controls, we'll see just how far we need to turn. So for example, keep an eye on this top right where you see it trigger the different commands. When I turn my head to the left, right about there, it starts to trigger. Coming back to here, turning to the right, right about there. So let's say I wanted to make those more sensitive. If I come up here and I turn it up to say 90% for both of them and then hit save, now check out how far I have to actually move for it to trigger. Right there. So about a degree or two of change as I'm going back and forth left and right here. What about all the way maxed out, 100%? And then I click save. Oops. And now when I'm turning my head, it's tiny twitch movements, right? I don't have to move very far at all. As a matter of fact, I don't even necessarily have to move my neck. I can move my face to the side and actually get that to trigger as well. But if you don't want to have such high sensitivity, you can decrease these two. So let's say we make them around 20%. Now see how far I have to move before it triggers. Right there, right? So now I'm moving about 30 degrees in every given direction for it to start. So you can play around with these different sensitivity settings to make it match your abilities and what's comfortable for you for every specific movement. So for example, for tilting up and down, how far do I need to move there? All the way to how open do I need to open my mouth in order for it to trigger? So for example, on the sensitive side of opening your mouth, it might trigger pretty often. But on the lower side, you might need to do a much bigger mouth open, or something like that. Same thing with eyebrow raising. You can turn on increased sensitivity for eyebrow raising, and then you can basically do small movements with your eyebrows, or on the lower side, you get to do these big movements. Really good if you have very expressive eyebrows while using controls. So be sure to check out all of the different options that work best for you using Cephable's camera settings and find what's comfortable. And then you're off and running. You can use that then on any profile. You don't have to change it for every single profile, just for the device that you're using. You can also change it from the mobile app and have that sync in real time too. So if it's easier to use these sliders from a mobile device, even if you're using your computer's webcam, you can also do that too, which is pretty cool. So be sure to check out all the other tutorials on using things like expression controls and camera controls and profiles, and tell us more about how you're using them. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks.